Avast there, mateys. I'm Victor Barbosa, and this is Pirate Reviews, and today we're going to look at one of me latest acquisitions. Spider-Man, Turn Off the Dark. Thanks to the fine work of other pirates like yours truly, we're able to take a glimpse at the infamous Broadway musical featuring our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Although why anyone would want to make Spider-Man of all properties into a Broadway musical just confounds me. If it's gonna be a musical, why isn't it about pirates? And I don't know why it's called Turn Off the Dark, but considering how many times this cameraman has to hide his camera from view, Turn Off the Dark will quickly become a regular complaint among anyone watching this DVD. Our tale begins as high school student Peter Parker sings a school report on Arachne, a lass from ancient Greece who boasted to have weaving skills greater than the gods. Believe it or not, Arachne actually serves as Peter's spirit guide throughout the entire play. How is it that I've never even read a Spider-Man comic and I know that Spider-Man has nothing to do with Greek mythology? Of course, all of Peter's classmates laugh at him, but Mary Jane has to say,
I'll catch you later, Tiger.
Sure. Absolutely. I'll catch you later! She called me Tiger.
But little does our Mr. Parker know that Mary Jane is actually concocting a vile plan to see him covered in pig's blood. He then gets picked on by some rather musical bullies, and I can't fathom why he puts up with it. Why not just break out his cutlass and run him through? Before he can sing for too long about how he hates his life, MJ shows up again to cheer him up, making me wonder why he even has these self-esteem issues if he's got a fiery redhead following him around like a lost puppy.
We wants the redhead! We wants the redhead!
Quiet, you scum!
After they sing about how they hate living down on Skid Row, we then go to Oscorp Labs, where the scientists look less dignified than a Dr. Insano convention. This is Norman Osborn, who wants to strengthen humanity for the sake of their survival.
Transformation. Yeah, transformation, that's the key. Global catastrophes, extinction events. If man's gonna survive, he is gonna have to transform!
Ooh, that's not a good idea, Mr. Osborn. The last person who tried that went all tentacly. Osborn then starts to sing about how he wants to speed up mankind's evolution. Great, I can't wait to become a giant salamander. And cue radioactive spider. We then see a similar transformation sequence like from the Sam Raimi movie, and I have no idea why the bullies are singing in it. Are they becoming part of his DNA too? Peter wakes up in one of Dr. Caligari's summer homes, doing whatever a spider can. And thank goodness that the spider bit him, otherwise it'd never work. He then fights the bullies at school, still bouncing off the walls, and Okay, I know that all young men go through changes at this time of their life, but for God's sakes, keep it in your pants, lad! After seeing MJ go off with Flash Thompson, Peter decides that he needs a car of his own. And what better way to get a car than to go into the ring with... But in all seriousness, he's just making things more difficult than they need to be. Why not just steal a car? Order a few bullets and slit throats over some fine MJ loving. But then I suppose it's not really all that complicated when you're fighting a giant pool toy. So Peter wins his prize money, but then his Uncle Ben gets shot. Also, you may be familiar with how Peter didn't stop a petty thief, and then that petty thief went on to kill Uncle Ben, thus teaching Peter that with great power comes great responsibility. Forget about that. Peter's actions aren't related to Ben's death in any way whatsoever. And this has been bothering me too. One of Peter's personal problems is that he's a failure with lassies. If you're not the kind of man to just take what you want and do what you need to with her, stop wearing V-necks and find yourself a decent barber. And maybe then they'll stop thinking that you're sailing with the Queen's Navy, if you get my meaning. Then Arachne shows up to sing a song about how Peter needs to rise above it all, and I have no idea if this is happening in his head, or if she's actually watching over him from above. Ancient gods interacting with the real world. That's just stupid. So Peter takes on the mantle of the Spider, and we then meet J. Jonah Jameson at the Daily Bugle, where the men dress like they're from the 20s and the women dress like they're from the 60s.
Listen, people, this thing is what's going to put the Bugle back on the top. We're fighting the internet. We're fighting bloggers. We're fighting Facebook. We're a daily paper in a 24/7 world. We're dinosaurs. But this Bug Boy, if we can make him our mascot before anyone else, dinosaurs will walk the earth once more.
You know, JJ, instead of fighting the internet, why don't you try using it? I can see it now. Centuries from now, pirates will use the internet to such a vast degree that musicians will only be able to afford gold pools instead of platinum. Good times. And this play is taking place within the Marvel Universe, right? Dinosaurs walking the earth happens every other week. And sometimes they're Jewish. JJ rants about how he wants pictures of Spider-Man, when Peter conveniently shows up with a handful of photos for him. And I can only wonder how he took those pictures when he doesn't even have a real camera. We then jump to Osborn, where he sings about how he needs to create new super soldiers for the government to save his company from going under. Maybe this wouldn't be an issue if you didn't spend so much of your budget on the flashy lab coats, but I'm not but a humble pirate. What do I know? We later see Peter and MJ after they graduate from high school, and Aunt May suggests that they celebrate the occasion.
Celebrate yourself. You don't want an old biddy like me ruining your good time.
And May, you are always going to be my best girl. You know that, right?
Why, I'd even make a deal with the devil and forget that I ever knew MJ for you, Aunt May. What? Shut up, MJ. But it's okay. Since Peter's all hot and bothered about his Aunt May, all MJ can talk about is Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is my celebrity crush.
Apparently.
Lucky for me, you seem to be closer to him than anyone else.
You have no idea.
While Peter and MJ confess their love through song, Norman engages in a little mad science with very appropriate pop music to accompany it. Just how bad does your play need to be when you make young Frankenstein look like that has more legitimate drama than you?
True and sweat tear, listen to my prayer. Stir its brain, let breathing start. Let me hear his beating heart. Give my creature life.
Sadly, Norman's wife dies in the process of conducting his experiment. How? I don't know. Maybe I would know if this play took its own advice and turned off the dark! Incidentally, if you think that Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin looks silly, feast your eyes on this.
Yeah! Norman Osborn 2.0, new and improved. Just 10 minutes a day with one of them shake weight thingies. Yeah, I think you can really see the difference. Oh yeah, and 6 weeks worth of serious genetic mutation.
They turned him green, scaly, over the top, and they gave him an accent to sound like he hails from New Orleans. This play literally turned the Green Goblin into a big-lipped alligator moment. He later abducts his top scientists and uses the same mad science to turn them all into new mutations, including the Lizard, Electro, Craven, who now has a lion's head in his stomach, Dr. Cletus Cassidy as Carnage, some lass made of knives, and this guy who's made of bees. Bees, my god. And what's Gobby calling his motley crew?
My new family, the Sinister Six!
Well, I guess they're letting anyone call themselves the Sinister Six these days. We then see this video montage showing the devastation caused by the Sinister Six. I guess they just couldn't think of a more practical way to convey this. I mean, seriously, how pathetic do you have to be if you have to cut to some other video clip just to make your point?
Irony!
Spider-Man takes out each of the Sinister Six before any of them can get in any dialogue. They were so relevant to the plot, weren't they? And then we see the Goblin as he tries to make a phone call to the Daily Bugle.
This is the
Do
Green
you know your
Goblin.
car's extension?
No, this is the Green Goblin, and I
Mr.
have...
Goblin, please hold.
Oh, for God's sake!
I'll admit that this is rather amusing, but it's completely out of place. We see all this murder and mayhem, and now this? It looks more like a Robot Chicken sketch.
You take this down, JJ, and you pretty Goblin to Spider-Man! I wanted you to join the New World Order, not vanquish it! Well, you vanquish my family, I will track you down, and I will vanquish yours.
I have no idea who your family is, but it's so gonna be vanquished! Peter has a little dream where he fails to save MJ from falling prey to the Goblin, and we have another song from Arachne. Careful there, Petey. Looks like she wants to play Ghostbusters with you. He later tries to catch the play that MJ's starring in, but she dumps him because she's sick of him never showing up.
You know, there's a green lunatic stalking me.
Oh, I know how that is. He's always telling me that I have a debt to pay. But Peter and MJ get back together almost immediately, making the last scene completely pointless. Also, this is happening right after Peter quits being Spider-Man, but after the Goblin makes a video threat to destroy the city or something, he goes back to being Spider-Man again, making that scene completely pointless. They should have just called this play Spider-Man, Turn Off the Relevance. Anyway, he somehow tracks the Goblin to the Chrysler Building, where he plays a piano on the roof? Well, that's just stupid.
Well, no, that's wonderful. We're gonna have a piano on the roof.
They give the standard, join me side, you're better than this, hero-villain speech, blah blah blah. He reveals that he has MJ tied up too, and I guess he grabbed her while Petey was singing another pointless song that he won't remember 2 seconds after it's finished. They fight for a bit, Spider-Man swinging with his webs and Goblin not flying on his glider, but with wings that I guess he always had. He pushes his piano off the building to kill some pedestrians at the bottom, but oh no! Spider-Man webbed him to the piano! Honestly, the only thing missing from the scene is the Goblin holding a sign that says "Yipe." So the city is safe, Spider-Man takes off his mask, he and MJ make out for a little. The end! And there we have it. Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, and all 8 of its legs can walk the plank. Now, to be fair, the stunts are pretty spectacular, and you can tell the actors are really trying here, but the mythology is all wrong, the roster of rogues is bizarre, the costumes are silly even by comic book standards, Peter's actions were only vaguely related to Uncle Ben's death, and the music is just forgettable, which is the worst thing that can happen to any musical. Now, maybe this would have more of an impact on me if I saw the play for myself, but as it is, it's pretty lackluster. This is Victor Barbosa saying, take what you can, give nothing back.
That f***ing chicken.